Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Hello and welcome to Better on Draft. My name is Rob, one of your hosts. With me today is Wendy. Hey, Wendy, how are you doing? What are you drinking?
I am drinking. Sorry, my computer just did something weird. From Four Circles Brewery in Brighton, Michigan. I was just there this past couple weekends. On my way home, I picked up a hazy mosaic. It's delicious. 7% hazy IPA with mosaic hops.
Sounds pretty good to me. I am drinking a Krankenwagen from Burn Em Brewing, which leads us into our guest today.
I'm a little jealous of that.
I picked this up. It looks like it's probably a fest beer, not an Oktoberfest, or not a Marzen, probably.
Hefeweizen, actually.
Oh, Hefeweizen. Okay, I didn't actually. Oh, you're right. It says right on the front, Hefeweizen. Excellent. I haven't had any yet, so here we go. With us today, we have Steve from Burn Em Brewing, which is part of why I chose this beer. So, hi, Steve. How are you? What are you drinking? Please introduce.
I'm doing well. I'm drinking Three Floyd's Deluxe Lager.
Nice.
It's been a big, household chore fan beer of mine lately.
My local bar just did a Three Floyd's tap takeover, and there's something like 15 Three Floyd's beers on tap right there right now. So I'm going to get over there tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we've always been a big fan of Floyd's. They've always, invited us to Dark Lord Dave and Pat when they were doing the guest drafts at Dark Lord, and they've always been a big supporter, and we've always loved them. So, yeah. Always got to drink their beer.
Nice. So, Steve, you are from Burn Em Brewing, but other than that, would you like to introduce yourself, or including that, if you would like?
Yeah. My name's Steve Murray. I'm one of the founders of Burn Em, along with my brother Blake, Howie, Sean, a few others that we all founded it around almost 13 years ago now. So, yeah, which has been kind of wild to think about. It's like been a whole new era with opening the new spot the last year and a half that it kind of seems like opening a whole new brewery. So it's been those past 11 years beforehand are just kind of, it's we still love them, but it's like it seems like it all happened so fast.
Yeah, that's outliving quite a few leases usually.
Exactly.
Yeah, so excellent. Excuse me, sorry, can you tell us about how you got started with brewing beer?
Yeah, so my brother and I, we used to homebrew with my dad and some of his friends. And then as we got into college, we kind of continued that with our own friends. We had our own little slight homebrew club for a bit there. Everybody kind of parted ways for a minute there. We kind of kept part of it going, but then we got back into the whole, it's about 2010 when brewing was really kicking off, and the craft brewery scene was really starting to make a big boom there. And we kind of all got back together and decided to do this, started buying equipment and getting ready to do that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's really all started with homebrewing. We had the name, we had some originally brewed a few kits here and there, and then, decided to start writing some recipes. And there were some good ones, there were some bad ones, and some of them we still brew today. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So you guys are up in Michigan City, and I'm in Indianapolis. Which is a fair piece away. I happen to have great fermentations right here in town. It's very convenient for getting brew kits and things. But what's a homebrew scene like up there?
It used to be a lot better. There's not really a homebrew store around us anymore. I think there's one in South Bend still. It's about a good 40 minutes from us, but yeah, there used to be one in Valpo, and we had a couple others closer by, but they've all been, come and gone in the years now. So, yeah, it was, we'd make trips out and stock up on yeast, and then, utilize online ordering, Midwest Supplies, Northern Brewer, stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. And now I hear from friends all over the country who are ordering from Great Fermentations, and I think that's just wonderful.
I still do too. I mean, yeah, they bailed me out when I'm coming to one of the indie beer fests where it's realize I forgot the toolbox halfway down. It's it's like we're not turning around. So I call them up. I'm like, hey, we need some gaskets for the jockey box, and yeah, swing in really quick.
That's awesome. Great. So I mentioned you're up in Michigan City. Can you tell us about Michigan City?
So yeah, Michigan City, we're kind of a decent tourist town. We do have a good local following, but our summers are popping off here and there with a lot of influx from Illinois and surrounding areas. So it's we're a good beach town. So we recently moved down to closer to downtown, where everything's like a little more of an arts district and a little more populated than where we were in the little industrial park we were in before. But yeah, Michigan City, our population quadruples in the summer months. So it's we kind of push for those hard summer months, and then we'll kind of relax a little bit during the winter. I mean, we're still hustling and still making beer to distribute through the whole state, but it's like it kind of gets a little quieter in the wintertime, which with summers being so busy, we're not too mad about. So
for those of us coming from the middle Michigan area, you're a perfect spot on the way to Chicago to stop and have lunch. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. Yeah, that 94 vein, connecting Detroit to Chicago we're only just a couple minutes off of it. So it's been really nice, like having that proximity to that area. Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the tap room and what's going on there.
So yeah, if you've ever been by in the past decade, we were a tiny little tasting room. There was no seats inside, especially after COVID. Before COVID, we had a couple seats inside, but then it was basically just the heated patios at the old location. So then we ended up this last year and a half, over the course of about 2.5, 3 years, we ended up building a new location. It's a 12,000 square foot. It was an old abandoned machine shop warehouse from back in the day that Blue Chip Casino was using as storage forever. So we ended up getting the building and rehabbing the whole thing, putting the big windows in. So now we have about 110 person seat tap room up front, all family friendly now, because Indiana's laws, you got to kind of choose one or the other unless you can really make your layout around that. So the old spot was always 21 and over, and being the tourist town we are, and especially people coming from Illinois and Michigan, they really realize, in those states, the laws are, kids could come into breweries and stuff like that. But in Indiana, we really couldn't do that. So we really had to make the change on deciding our layout and how we're going to do that. And so once we got that all settled with everything, we got about 110 person tap room. We have the event space in the back, which we book out for private events here and there, but it's a little small for like if you're going to do a whole wedding. But no tables or chairs with standing room. We're doing about 150 person concerts and stuff like that. So we're trying to kind of really establish that back room as like a music venue in the area, because kind of being right in smack dab between Chicago, Detroit, Grand Rapids, and Indy, we don't really have anything in this area. Like for us growing up, if you wanted to see a good show, you had to go to one of those cities I just named, and now we're kind of trying to build a little crossroads in between here. So, but yeah, it's been a wild ride over this last year and a half. We went from having my partners and I just making the beer in the back and doing all the distro to having 2 bartenders up front, to now having over 30 staff with all our kitchen staff and everything. So it's been a fun year, but we've grown and adapted, and then really been loving it here. So
Let's talk about the food a little bit too, because I was really impressed. Everything we had, we liked.
Oh yeah, my brother, and then my brother Blake Murray, and then our other chef Wojtek. We hired Wojtek when we first started. Blake was still running our other restaurant in LaPorte, which we shut down at the end of last year. But it was over in the next town over, LaPorte. Once we shut that down, Blake came over and helped out with the program. So now between the two of them, it's just been amazing. We don't do, we have some typical bar food. We have a burger, we have chicken fingers, but for the most part, it's not your typical bar food. It's a big Cajun Southern influence on a lot of things. But then we release specials every week. So every single Thursday or Friday, we have at least 4 to 5 new specials that last the whole weekend. They're gone by next Tuesday, and then we come up with something new for the next week. Every Thursday, we launch a new burger. That special burger stays on for the whole weekend. So it's coming up with a new burger every week has been a lot of fun with the staff. It's everybody participates, whether it's brewery staff, kitchen staff, front of house, like all of us are kind of brainstorm. Now that we've every week, been open for a year and a half, that's got to, we're getting close to 100 burgers, and it's like just trying to figure out a new one every week's fun. So we got a whiteboard for ideas, and everybody kind of works together on that.
So you don't repeat them?
We've repeated only one or two so far.
That's
So far,
exciting.
yeah. One of our regulars has tried every single one, so he missed one in the beginning, so we repeated that one for him so he could try it. And then after that, we really haven't done it.
Well, that
We've
was
done like
very
a couple,
considerate.
a couple variations of the other. Plus, he has his own rating system, so he'll like give us like a 1 out of 10 on all the burgers every week, and so and they're always above 7. So it's just figuring out which ones he really likes the most.
It's nice. It's tough to be that regular of a regular at a place. It really is.
Yeah, you're there every Thursday. I'm like, yeah, we own.
Yeah, it's great though. So where did the name Burn Em come from?
So our original location was me and my our dad's construction company. So it was like his office and like storage for materials and tools and stuff. He passed away in 2010. So when we started the brewery in 2013, the building was up for sale and we actually owned it. Me and my brother inherited it. So we decided to start the brewery there. His middle name was Burnham, but like Burnham. So we kind of just put a twist on it and to give it the proper name. So, a little more marketable version of it as well. Yeah. Also in Michigan City, there was the Burnham Glove Factory, which was like a famous landmark in Michigan City. And so we wanted to make sure we weren't like, we're not from the glove factory because it was spelled the Brnham.
So your dad's still with you every day you're at work?
Oh, of course. No,
that's great. Yeah.
And we used to homebrew with him, so it's kind of that, full circle.
Yeah.
But you really like that we put a brewery in the buildings.
So I'm just curious when you actually started distributing in Michigan, because I think I found you last summer.
Yeah, it was the year we were in construction. So I think the first pickup happened around November or December of 2023. I'd have to dig into my computer to find out exactly, but it was right around the end of 2023 because we opened in 2024. So yeah, they started picking up right before we moved. So
and I'm curious about kind of the logistics of that because not many Indiana breweries distribute outside of Indiana. Is that hard to do?
It's just a little extra licensing and paperwork. It's not too crazy. You got to get your labels approved federally, which most of us do on every label now anyway. Back in the day, it was kind of a little more relaxed, I think, and then it's definitely seen it like get cracked down on a little bit. But if you stay in state, you don't have to have your label approved by the federal government technically. So, you still need to follow guidelines because you could get like audited and flagged on it. But yeah, you didn't really have to get a full approval unless you start crossing state lines. So
yeah, a brewery that I love and will not name do not put ABV on their labels, and that is a thing that like sticks in my craw. I really grinds my gears.
That's one of my pet peeves too.
Yeah, actually, I don't think ours have them on there. But that's not who we're neighbored. But if you don't have to put them on there, according to like some of the state laws, it all depends. But and then if you do, you have to be within like 0.1% or something like that of that batch every time. Which the chance of somebody taking that and testing it is like really wild, and not gonna happen. But yeah,
get somebody after you.
That's kind of stringent. Like that's tricky to get that accurate, on some of these scale systems every time.
Yeah, and like ours, especially the mainstay beers, the flagships, we brew hipster, juice bag, juice ponds. We brew those at least every other week. One of them's going every other week. There we are. Yeah.
I've got a can of hipster juice bags as my next beer.
That one and Dark Side of the Moon are my staples at my house.
Dark Side,
which is really funny that I'm not drinking them because I did not get a chance to pick up beer before this episode. And normally I would have it at my house, but apparently I drank it all.
And normally I would be drinking Hesse and Horseman, our German style Pilsner. That's kind of my go-to when I'm coming home from work. I'll bring a 4-pack home with that. I was camping all week and I haven't been back to the brewery since Sunday. So it's been the longest time I've been gone since the new spot has opened. And it's felt pretty good, I'm not going to lie. But
yeah,
back at it tomorrow. So I went to the liquor store and got some Floyd's. I can't fathom buying my own beer from the liquor store. So.
That
can
does
imagine.
seem silly.
Yeah, I was like, I'll wait till I go back, but I couldn't go back today. So I need to take a break.
So you're in Michigan City. Can you tell us a little bit about how you interact with the city? Like, how involved are you in city? It sounds like you moved downtown for one thing.
Yeah, we're a little closer to downtown now. We're right next to the casino, but we've always done give backs with different programs throughout the city. We've been a spot for drop offs for canned goods. We actually sponsored a couple boxes in some neighborhoods to have like a just free pickup pantry. So stock it with canned goods throughout the year. And I was personally doing it for a little bit there. But yeah, we're a drop off spot still if anyone wants to bring them by. And yeah, no, we've always done different things like that. I'm actually working with the Indiana Brewers Guild to bring the fall festival from Broad Ripple up north, and we're looking at doing it in Michigan City next year. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that yet, but but yeah, they're looking at that now. So they canceled the Fall Brew Fest for this year in 2025. So we're hoping in 2026 of October that it can be up here in Michigan City, because all the Indiana Guild Fests have always been down south, and so they're trying to get one up here, kind of represent the north a little bit. But so just trying to do that. I work with the city on certain events, and we set up bars and do give backs with all different aspects of the city's like programs and everything that they have. So
Yeah, so you were talking about the back room earlier, and I saw that you host some events and things in there. Like it looked like you support local artists pretty well in all sorts of mediums.
Yes, so that's one of the biggest parts of the back room. I grew up an artist. I've been a musician my whole life too. So it's really just like I like supporting that kind of music that's not your typical bar music. Everywhere in town has a cover band playing, every bar does. And so we try to pick original music, people that are writing their own stuff and really putting their hearts into it. We do occasionally, I have cover bands, play on the patio, play in the tap room here and there, but it's like for the main shows and stuff, we're really trying to focus on that original music. We just did our first art show where he had all his art up for 3 months on the walls in the back. So, he sold like over half his pieces during that 3 months, which is awesome. They stay up with the sold sticker, but then everybody buys it from him after that. So, and we don't take any cut of like art sold or any of that, and there's no commissions. We just like to support the arts in any way we can. And having, like I said earlier, about having this area that's between Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis, like it's having that little center. Like we don't have anywhere for music in this area. There's a couple, everywhere there's a bar that's supporting cover bands and stuff. So it's really just having that good outlet for people to do. We did this Psych Fest back in June, and it was so much fun. We put up a stage in the brewery, and then we had our normal stage in the back room. And our garage door between the back room and the brewery is right between the two. So that was up the whole time. And we did bands back and forth like every 45 minutes. And we had 13 bands that day. And then half of it was this local music shop that, they sell guitars, they do music lessons. It's called Roxy Music in LaPorte. But they were doing a full, they have their band program that they just started. So they group kids together that are doing lessons there that might like similar, talent. So they have them play together, and they helped like sponsor the fest. So they had like the beginner class did a full set for like 10-15 minutes and only a couple songs, but then their advanced class, which were like 15 and 16-year-olds, did like a whole 30-minute set, and they're playing metal. Like these kids are out there just like screaming their hearts out. It was awesome. And we had bands from Kalamazoo, Chicago, Indianapolis, quite a few Michigan City and LaPorte local ones in South Bend. So it was a great time.
That sounds great. That sounds like a full-on festival, but indoors. So, the weather lets them go.
Yeah, we were trying to close the street. We didn't get in time with the city to do it. So hopefully next year we'll have the actual street closed and have one stage out there and then one in the back room. So the brewery stage was kind of like an audible. It was quick, like last minute. And then we set up like a vendor market in the tap room. So we're hoping to do it all outside and have it like be a little bit bigger of a fest next year. So
yeah, that sounds great. You said that was in June this year?
Yeah, it was in June. So it's called Burn Em Psych Fest. It was awesome. So we're hoping to really blow it out next year.
Cool. I saw that the back room also hosts other events, such as you host karaoke on some days.
I personally host karaoke. I love to sing, so yeah. I took like August and September off, or July and August off because it was just too busy this summer. Yeah, we started back up last year. We're doing it next Friday, so I'll be out there hosting. We do that in the tap room. We do bingo. We do trivia every other week, alternating weeks on those two. But then, yeah, and then people can rent the back room for private events. It's like smaller. We've had a couple small like wedding receptions. So like with tables and chairs, it's probably getting about 75, 80 people in there only. So a little smaller weddings, but some people have really dug it. It is kind of still an industrial vibe with like there's stickers everywhere. It's kind of becoming, we book everything from bluegrass to punk, but it's definitely feeling that like punk and metal vibe recently. So, which I'm all for.
Oh, yeah, I could live in that.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad to have that in my area. So I got to go to Chicago to go to Reggie's. I mean, I still love going to Reggie's if I can, but I'm trying to build my own Reggie's here.
What is your karaoke song that you usually use to get started?
I do Rob Zombie's Dracula.
Awesome.
That is one of my go-tos. I like to switch it up though a lot. Like I recently did "Freak on a Leash" by Korn. I did the full scat. I did the full scat part too. So
nice. So some screaming, some full on throats. Yeah.
Funny story about Korn. When I hear their music and I'm not paying attention, it actually makes my arm hurt. Because I broke my arm at one of their concerts.
Oh yeah. It's a like phantom injury. Yeah.
It is. I'm like, why does my arm ache? And then I realized what was playing on the radio. So it's only happened a couple of times, but yeah, it happens if I'm not paying attention to what's actually going on.
That's really
awesome. You mentioned the trivia, and I just want to point out because I think it's great. It looks like you have a local person doing your trivia, and not a lot of bars do that.
Yeah, so it's actually one of my bar managers does it, and he does it at a couple other places in town too. But he's he only does like 3 bars in the area, I think. And we've had some of the big companies approach and stuff. Like, no, we're all in house, and same with bingo. My other bar manager, not the same guy, but one of my other bar managers hosts bingo every other Tuesday. So sometimes I end up having to work behind the bar since they're hosting, but it's fun. I get we got in-house bingo, and they get known for it now. They go they do the canvassing. They go door to door to some of the other businesses. We get gift cards from all the other local businesses. So those are the prizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it feels like bingo is just one of those things that is perfect in a bar because you only have to pay attention to the numbers calling, and that's easy to do while you're drinking and chatting with friends.
Yep, and we broadcast it on the TV, so if you miss him talking, you can still check it out. It's like
wow,
it's wild though. It's like I never thought bingo would be so busy, and as soon as we started doing it, it just like it starts at 6, and by 5:30 we're filled up, and on a Tuesday night. And so in the summertime, it's like we started like putting extra tables and doing it in the back room because we had regular business from people that didn't know we had bingo, but in the wintertime, it's perfect. It's just like it fills us up on a Tuesday when it could be slow. So it's awesome.
I think that we are probably that next generation of the old people in the church bingo hall.
Yeah, it's cool because there is a mixture. It's a good crowd of people that are not normally there, and a slightly older crowd. But then there's a good crowd of younger folk around hanging out with us too. So it's been cool seeing that adaptation of people that just love playing bingo. I never thought it would be that way.
Yeah. We've talked about the back room a little bit. Could you tell us about the rest of the space? You said it's about 150 people in the bar area. Is that right?
150 in the back room with no tables and chairs, but about 110 seats up front. But then, we probably could fit another 50 to 70 on the patio. So, we're like almost 200 people total in the place at one point. But, we got a big, I'm a bar person. So when we did design the bar, I like to sit at the bar and eat. So we designed a really large bar. There's 12 seats on one side, 8 on the other. There used to be 12, but we just put a soda machine that had this sit on the bar. So we didn't really have another spot for it. So between that and then, it's a good, almost 2.5 foot wide bar. So if you're eating there, you can get every app and still have plenty of room. Now we're realizing it's hard to reach across and wipe all the way because most of us don't have that long of arms. But just go around and get it. But no, it's been great. it's being a full family friendly space for the first time. It's taking some getting used to, but we're really loving it. We print off our own coloring sheets. I take some of our beer labels, which, as you know, are pretty cartoon and intricate. And I turn them black and white and print them out. So then kids get to color them in and stuff. So we have those hanging on the wall now as they're getting colored in and stuff. And we just started really building out the patio this year. We didn't really have it last year when we first opened. It's kind of, we put a lot into opening the building and getting that building up to code that we really had to just kind of do things one step at a time in these last years here, not all out of pocket and as we could. So yeah, we just got the lights up right before summer hit this year, where next year is going to be the yard games all coming out. So we're going to be putting cornhole out there, some giant Jenga, stuff like that. But the patio, the patio at our old spot was the old spot. We didn't really have indoor seating. So we're kind of trying to really recreate that here at the new place. And now we're on the highway now, so we get kind of the cars zipping past here and there. So we're, planting trees here at the beginning of next year, so they can kind of or more like little juniper bushes, kind of block the highway traffic and kind of mute that sound a little bit.
Yeah. You mentioned labels, and I had prepared your webpage of labels because I think they're spectacular. I really do. So Max Clark,
my attention.
Does your labels, and they're just amazing.
So when we first started, we put out a thing on like our Facebook, and we're looking for local artists that could kind of do the work. And the original idea was like, since we were artists and we really love supporting arts and all that, like it was we were kind of looking for a different artist to do the labels on every beer. Realized pretty quick that we loved Max's work so much that we wanted him to do everything. On top of that, like, figuring once we started brewing so many beers, we're like, having somebody finding a new person for every one of these would have been really hard. So basically, we just always had Max. He was originally local. He moved to Chicago like shortly after we started, or maybe right around the same time we started. So he was coming out to the brewery occasionally, meeting in person, and we were talking through the labels. But really, we just got the relationship down so well where I send him a beer name, and if a lot of the time would have an idea for the label already and be like, hey, here's kind of what we're thinking with the beer name. Like, and usually 99% of the time his pencil sketch he sent me was like, yeah, go with that. Love it. Occasionally there'd be some minor changes here and there, but really it was just like that. And then he moved out to Brooklyn about halfway through. Probably about 5 years into us being in the brewery. But he still continued to do the work for us. He was pursuing his music career. He's with a band called, he is Cutworms. His band is called Cutworms, and it's really just Max with other artists filling in on all their different instruments, but he plays guitar and sings. He's a songwriter and original music. He's amazing. He just actually toured with Wilco, and he's been harder and harder to get a hold of lately just because he's signed now with a record company. He toured with Wilco. He was just in the studio with Jeff Tweedy. So but yeah, check out Cutworms. They're amazing. But yeah, I still get them to do the labels occasionally. So it's like, I want to do one. I give them a year lead time.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Does the Skull Guy have a name? The Skull Guy on the labels?
Yes. So he became Mr. Burn Em. And it really happened in like just emails between me and Max. It's like, hey, well, I really want the skeleton guy to be doing this. And then it just started, I think he coined it really. He's like, hey, Mr. Burnham's going to be doing this on the label here and there. And like, it's like, okay, yeah, I like that. So yeah, Mr. Burnham is the skeleton. And that's the thing. He's just, he's always in a different costume. It kind of became just this, it just organically grew into really what it is. So I know, Wendy, you've been to the new spot. The mural on the wall it's actually not, Max did not do the mural, but our local artist named Matt Rainey did. And he just studied the labels and kind of took all the characters from the different labels and made the mural out of them. So
even Mr. T?
Yeah, Mr. T. Yeah. That's the actual Mr. T on the label. But no, the skeleton and the dress is on the mural for sure.
Okay.
I'm sure I have a picture of the mural here.
I think it is I think it's on the website too. So
okay.
I will say that you mentioned stickers on the wall in the back area, and I will say that I probably took more pictures of stickers in your bathroom than I ever have in any other facility.
And I remember meeting with like our architect, and they were like trying to, overly design the like bathrooms and stuff. I think I think they came up with the idea, like, like, well, people just like they carve. I was complaining about how they would carve in the wall of the stalls at the old brewery and stuff like that. And it's like, well, let's just like not do anything in there, and then we can just. I had a good folder of save stickers from beer fests and all that, so it's like, let's just start it, and then people will start adding to it, and that way, if they're adding stickers and not carving in my drywall, that's gonna be way better. So,
Right?
and yeah, it's been pretty good. We haven't had too much of that. It still happens, but you win.
People are drinking.
My favorite was the Pokaholics.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
assuming it's a band.
Oh yes. Yeah, they're a polka band. Which actually I haven't had them out. They just came and visited and slapped the sticker, but we're working on getting them booked here soon. So
I have a friend that introduced us to punk rock polka, which I did not know was a thing until we were in Vegas together. So every time I see something along those lines, I'm like, "Hey, do you know about this?"
yeah,
Is it
send me
like the
that.
Dropkick Murphys? Is that who you're thinking of?
That is kind of.
No?
I would definitely. What's more like Celtic punk rock? It's
Yeah.
definitely got that influence.
Yeah. But polka.
But
Yeah,
no,
you
this
find that
was
name and send me it.
yeah,
Oh,
it was.
oh,
She had
what?
a whole playlist of songs that she'd found. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a genre, but now every now and then I will pull it up just because. Why not?
Yeah, anything can be almost nowadays.
It makes you smile.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the Weird Al polkas always make me smile.
Oh yes.
That's true.
We actually have Eddie Carosa coming in January. He's the polka king. He was in Home Alone. He was in John Candy's band in Home Alone. So he still plays around the area and comes out and plays accordion and sings. And yeah, so
That's
he's
awesome.
coming out. He's coming out in January. We had him last year. He was amazing.
It's fun.
I'm not Polish, but I am a huge fan of polka for some reason. It must be where I'm from. So let's talk a little bit about the beer.
Yeah.
What kinds of beers are you guys best at? Do you try to do a variety? Tell us about what you guys do.
So we've always been known for doing a variety. We do a wide array of beers. We've done some really weird beers over the year. We still do quite a few weird ones here and there, but we ever since like COVID and we picked up a distributor, we do produce a lot of our mainstay beers, but we also increase production in order to kind of do that and still do the weird stuff at the same time. So we've always we've put really weird things just in beers, from like, I don't know, there was a fried chicken beer at one point to we did a French onion beer, which wasn't good. It was good to cook with. But this was all like 15-gallon batch
Really
stuff.
smelled amazing.
Yeah, we used to do it at the small house tap room, and one keg would go on tap and last for maybe less than 3 days here or there. But that one lasted a long time before we finally just pulled it.
Yeah.
But we've done so many different ones over the years, and obviously our mainstays. We have our best-selling beers are Hipster Juice Bag and Juice Puns, our two hazies. They're the same grain bill with a different hop profile, and just one's a little more tropical, one's a little more citrusy, but they dominate the distribution markets for us. Along with like some of our real traditional old mainstays of like Cream Corn, Red Zeppelin, Dark Side of the Moon are still out there. Cocoa nibs have been getting really expensive over the past couple of years and very hard to get in nowadays. So we don't do Dark Side as much anymore. We've kind of replaced pushing Duke Silver, our porter, a little bit more as our mainstay dark beer now. Now, while we still do brew Dark Side, but it is just like kind of trickled in here and there. Yeah, Cream Corn, Red Zeppelin, those are out there. And then over the past few years, we've really honed in the lager kind of aspect of things. So now we're doing Hessian Horseman's our mainstay, German style Pilsner. It's on tap all year round almost. There's a brief week or two window where it goes off tap before the next batch is ready, because lagers take 30 to 40 days compared to our ales. Usually we're pumping out in about 15. So, but between those, yeah, that's like Hessian, and then every year we release the Oshisa, our Oktoberfest Marzen style, and we actually ran out on tap already. We released it mid-September, and it lasted about 4 weeks this year, so that was pretty good for 9 half barrels.
Nice.
But then, we trickle in all the other stuff. We still like to play with different yeast strains. We have our 2 house strains, which are basically a White Labs, just clean American ale strain, and that does like the red Zeppelin, the stouts, the cream corn, and then we have our hazy strain that does basically all the hoppy stuff. And then, then our lager strain, and then we occasionally sprinkle in the saisons, like the Hefeweizens, and all that kind of stuff here and there. But we do still rock a little bit of a funk program too, so we release about one like really funky wild ale every year. We have a couple wine barrels that just sit and age, and as soon as we empty them, we refill them with some fresh beer and let them kind of funk up over the next couple of years. So we did a peach one in 2023. We didn't release anything in 2024, but I just emptied a couple barrels into a tank on top of a bunch of raspberries. So those are going to be sitting for another 3 to 4 months, and hopefully we'll release them in around February. But there's no definitive date because it's when it tastes fine. So.
It's ready when it's ready.
Exactly. It's live, at least you can't really rush it. So.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that you have a sour program going, because that seems to be going away from a lot of breweries.
Yeah,
we used to have Black Note up that way, I think, in Hammond.
Yeah, Sour Note.
Sour Note.
It was a branch of 18th Street.
Yeah, but I don't think they exist. I don't think Sour Note exists as a thing anymore.
No, they do not. I don't believe in them. Yeah. It's we do some quick sours, the quick kettle sours and stuff like that. We still do those and have them on tap regularly too. We can a little bit of them, and none of them are really in distro. It's just kind of all in house. But then, the real funky long aged sours, we actually still bottle condition those, and but that's what the market for them isn't. I still have 1 case left of the 2023, and we've been selling bottles to the public. It's just it doesn't hit the public as a hazy IPA does, which is kind of sad nowadays. We've seen ever since COVID, we've seen the craft beer kind of on a downward slope, but people don't line up for beer releases like they used to. It's it's been so
it's really just because we're lazy.
No, it's like it's there's a whole lot of it, different aspects to it. But then really it's like getting into we saw that coming kind of thing, and that's why we started the new building. That's really, we kind of saw like if we stayed just a tap room just doing beer, we weren't sure how long we'd still be around. Like we've seen the closings happen all over the state and all over the country like everybody else has. So it's really getting that restaurant, especially in the town we're in. It was like having that restaurant and tourism town is gonna keep us alive and keep us allowed to actually make our beer, and that's what we really love doing. And then luckily, when we started our food program, we've got passionate cooks. My brother, Wojtek, like they're amazing. The stuff they're coming out with every week it blows me away. It's really hard not to eat there all the time.
Yeah. We hear that a lot lately from breweries, that they love their kitchens, and their kitchens are keeping them afloat. Every once in a while, we hear breweries that are having a good go of it without a kitchen, but they usually have good food partners involved at that point. So, but yeah, it sounds like the kitchen really is a way to go, a good, strong way to go. And then if you're doing strong, I'm going to say strange, but in a good way, food, then that's got to help too.
Yeah, and strange food to match the, we have some traditional beers and stuff, but we've always kind of been known for strange beers. So we really wanted the food to reflect the same. But yeah, it's like, Chicago and places like that where everything is so, big cities where everything is very close together. The tap rooms without food can survive. Like there's a food next door, you can bring it in. But, at the old spot, we noticed, people would have 1 beer, 2 beers, and they got to find food because they don't want to have another one. And we had a small food, we're doing soft pretzels and some snacks, but it's not fulfilling enough, And then when you have this, people can have 3 each, and, still be safe and, rack a food tab, and it helps us survive in that unfortunate consumerism market that we have to live in.
Yes, the business part of brewing beer. It isn't all just fun and games, is it?
No, it's mostly cleaning, and the rest is numbers. Yeah. We wish we could just make beer.
Yeah. Well, right. You wish you could make the beer that you want to make instead of just what the market really wants and will pay for.
Yeah. And I think we're fortunate enough to still do that. Like, but now, especially with the new spot, we got 24 taps. I can, we can have what the people want and still have other fun stuff. We just had a brown ale with lactose, so it was so sweet, and then we added cola syrup to it, so it tasted like Coca-Cola in a beer, in a 6.5% beer. So it still tastes a little like beer, but it tastes like cola. So yeah, it's called Liter of Cola from a good Super Troopers reference. Now we're starting to eyeball a root beer option for it because it's like, but it's just the fun like little 3-barrel stuff we do. It's only on tap, it doesn't go out in distro. Maybe a couple kegs here and there to a couple friends' bars. Hit me up, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, you're gonna catch up to that Not Your Father's root beer craze from forever ago.
Which I was kind of at Beer Fest this summer. I was kind of marketing it like that. I was like, you remember that stuff, right? Like, but what was that made out of? Like, we're not even sure. I was like, this is at least beer. Yeah, this is at least beer.
Yeah, I don't know what it was made out of, but it did go well with ice cream.
It did, but we our kitchen started making in-house ice cream. We bought them a little ice cream maker at the beginning of the year, and a couple of my kitchen staff like really just glommed onto it. And one of them is actually my dishwasher, who like doesn't work in the kitchen at all, but he really loves making ice cream. So when we're a little slower, he kind of mans the ice cream machine and comes up with ideas now. And if I'm ordering flavors for beer, like from Amaretti or any of those companies, some different purees and stuff, I ordered a little extra so I could pass it on to them to make ice cream with it. So we did a cold ice cream that we were putting a scoop into. So now there's a button in the computer. You can add scoop ice cream to any beer you want. Now, obviously, it's not going to work out with every beer you order, but there's certain beers it's going to work out really well with. So.
Yeah, I think a vanilla ice cream in a porter would be pretty good.
It is. I'm not going to lie.
Now I want to put ice cream in my Dark Side of the Moon.
You should. We've done that. They made a really good chocolate ice cream recently, just straight chocolate. And it's like, oh man, that's really good. But we were ordering cereal and they're making cereal ice cream. We just did a big breakfast stout with it was aged on Brazilian Amburana wood, which Amburana is like, when it's toasted, it smells like cinnamon, streusel, maple syrup. Like the wood just smells like that. It's slightly smoky too. So we put all the wood chips in the beer, and then I saved them like a little bit, and they soaked the milk for the ice cream in that, and then made Amburana ice cream. So
That's
made wood
awesome.
ice cream. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be so good.
Yeah, it was really
Taxman did a barreled beer that they distributed in Amburana. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and it was so good.
Yeah, the Amburana barrels were like $1,000 a barrel or something like that. So I was like, oh, the bag of wood chips is like $80. So it's like, let's get the wood chips.
It's a lot easier to ship those.
Yeah, give that a shot.
Yeah,
And the stuff is amazing. The smell of it's just like wild. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one was pretty good when I had it. The Taxman one. I haven't had it too many other places.
Yeah, no, I'd come try it out sometime. It's on tap right now. It's called the Big Breakfast Stout. We had there's a band that played last weekend called James Guetta and the Big Breakfast. So he came and brewed the beer with us. We're like, we can't pass up this opportunity to just make the Big Breakfast Stout. So
yeah,
9.5% maple syrup, Amburana.
it's ironic because you're in a good spot to get from Chicago to Michigan. But you're not in a great spot to get from Indianapolis to Michigan.
No.
I know. I think I'm actually closer to you in Michigan than Rob is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we're going to Indy, either like we got to go all the way over to South Bend and take 31 down, or you take 94 to 65, which that's been a.
It's always bad. It's always bad in Lafayette, especially.
Yeah, I almost cursed. I don't know if I'm supposed to curse on this, but yeah, it's bad. It's bad every time.
Yeah. A number of years ago, I did the Indiana on Tap Marketplace thing, and my buddy's son was learning to drive, and he had to get those hours in, and so we did a northern Indiana trip. But we did go. We started at South Bend and worked our way east. We did make it out to Bare Hands and Goshen and somewhere else up there before coming back.
Crooked U maybe in South Bend was always good.
Yeah, I can't remember. I really can't remember. It was so many years ago, and there was a lot of beer involved. But because his son was learning, we had to stay sober because you still need a sober driver in the car.
Yeah, even if he's just in case you got to take over.
Yeah, But that was Dad's job, not mine. I just went along for the ride.
So you got sample everywhere. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. One other time it was during COVID, and Dark Lord Day was pickup only.
Yep.
We didn't have the actual party and stuff. It worked out really well for me, but I drove up to Munster from Indianapolis and back that same day. And so that time I could have come by your place.
Those are always fun. I used to do we used to do a lot more collabs back, but like pre-COVID, like collabs between breweries was a much bigger thing. We're still doing occasionally here and there, you'd go brew at another person's brewery, and then they'd come brew at your place the next week, and we release simultaneous beers that were semi-similar and all that kind of stuff. We had collab days. It was like, oh yeah, we'll go brew down in India and drive back the same day. We'd show up at leave at 3 a.m. to get down to India at 5 for mash in. Flat 12 back in the day we brewed with them. It's and we still got to drive back home afterwards. And collab days, they usually have the brewer's assistant brewing the whole beer, and we're just hanging out and drinking the whole time. Oh, this is sweet. Until you gotta leave and head back home.
I do miss Flat 12. They did some wonderful beer.
They did. And all the people that were there, they were all great people. And luckily, I still stay in touch with a lot of the old brewers. Sean Lewis is at Sun King, and Sean Manahan had Copacetic over there in Monticello, which he shut down recently, but we still see him around at Brewfest and stuff and hang out.
That's great. That's great that you're still in touch with them and that they're doing well, because I do miss them. I love. They did a mole beer, one Cinco de Mayo, and it was just so wonderful. And I don't think they ever did it again.
No, it's that's been the sad part. We've been now that we've been around for over 10 years. It's all these breweries we've met. We got good friends from this industry. Whether they worked at breweries or own other breweries, we've all been just friends for the years in this industry. And it's we get to see each other a couple times a year at these brew fests, and it's great. But then seeing some of these closings and stuff has been sad. Miss our buddies. So, some go get different jobs out of the industry, and you don't really see them anymore. You try to stay in touch and on Facebook and stuff like that, but it's just it's rough life.
Yeah. With you distributing to Michigan now, are you in the Michigan brew scene as well?
Not as much. The distributor's doing most of it, and really they're keeping most of it in the southwest corner of Michigan, just kind of more marketing just over the border for us. But they do branch out a bit. I know, I see the sales list occasionally, and we're out in Detroit every now and then, Ann Arbor. I see kegs and cans going to Grand Rapids. Thank you. Yeah, if you're out and about, you tell your local bar you want or liquor store you want Burn Em, and they'll bring it out. So
I will start mentioning it. Well, I don't get to go to the bars very much, because when I do go out, I try to go to breweries.
Yeah.
But I do have my local distributor get your beer, so I definitely pick some up every time I'm there.
Yeah, because we're through M4. M4 does all the distributing for Michigan now, so they get a very compared to Cavalier or Indiana distributor, they're getting a sixth of what they do. So yeah, but it's still it's supplemental and it's great. So and it's good to be out there. And really, it was a lot of my friends growing up in this area, New Buffalo. We're right on the border of Michigan, so New Buffalo, Stevensville, St. Joe, they're all right there. And a lot of my friends own and manage bars all up this coast. So it's they've been asking for years, when can we get Burn Em in here? So finally, once it was there, it's oh yeah, it was kind of the main push. I was it really isn't but much more. It was $1,000 a year and a little more paperwork. Yeah, we can do that. It's worth it. So.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I passed up a Michigan brewery to get to your brewery when we were when we were there. But I had friends meeting us there, and we were I'm going there. I actually had my parents stop on the way home one year, or last summer, I think, because I had just started getting your beer, and I was I love this. I want to know what I can't get here. Right. So I had them stop on their way back home to pick up beer for me.
That's and I get that occasionally. We work in the host stand, just greeting people, and it's where we sell our to-go beer and stuff. And I'm trying to talk to somebody about beer because they seem kind of interested in what they want, but then there's a point they're no, I'm just getting this for someone. They told me what they wanted. I was oh, okay, then yeah, I'll stop trying to sell you on everything else.
Yeah, I always tell my dad, just send me pictures.
Yeah.
of what they have, and I'll tell you what to get for me. I
Yeah.
will say, if you are from Michigan and you stop at Burn Em to pick up to-go beers, don't get the beer yourself.
Yeah.
Let somebody else, tell them what you want, and they'll get it out of the cooler.
Oh yes, yeah. Indiana law.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's
Stupid.
great.
Yeah, I did not know that. My bad.
Yeah. It's because
Got a
we're
little
family
tested with
friendly
me.
and don't have a railing in front of the. If we had a railing that was like had a 21 and over sign on it, then you could grab the beer for yourself. But it says no. We're supposed to monitor that. It's
The railing protects the kids.
yeah. When they're ready, running and jumping over the railing and climbing on it, and
Right.
trying to tell them to get up.
And at the place where I do trivia, there's a team that comes in and they bring their son who now, I think he's still underage, but they've always been mildly family friendly. They have the silly railing. And the parents would sit at the bar because the kid wanted to do his homework. So he would sit and do his homework right by the railing by the bar the whole time, being totally safe from the influences of alcohol.
Yep.
That side of the railing.
I don't know if when you were at the old spot, Rob, were you ever at the old spot, Rob?
No, I didn't go.
So the old spot, like it was in the woods basically, and the patio was like, it was all 21 and over. But same thing, we'd get the Illinois family traveling through, and like once we told them, sorry, it's 21 and over, they'd be like, okay, and they'd still get beers and sit in the patio, and their kid would just be in the like woods/yard next to the patio, like kind of like clinking a glass on the bars, while their parents are just having a beer inside. It's like, they're still
I
outdoors.
love that you blame that on Illinois and not Michigan.
Well, Michigan folk did it too, but I'll always blame the Illinois folks.
Indiana folk, we just
I
left our
appreciate
kids
that.
in the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be honest. So with Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, they can't come in; they'll be in the car.
Yeah.
See, here in Michigan, most of them they'll just bring them in the bar, anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. And now we're family friendly. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to leave the kid outside the fence. You can bring him on in.
They just have to stay outside the railing.
Now we're still a brewery. We're still beer first. So my bartender might swear in front of you. Like, sorry, it's gonna
That's
happen.
their fault.
There's
Their
a
bar.
risk when you go to a bar.
Yeah, we have two TVs. Wrestling. The menu is on one. Wrestling is usually on the other. Occasionally, ESPN 8, the Ocho, and and then we'll do occasional the main sports games, the local sports games. But if someone's like, "Can you put on the Arizona college game?" It's like, no.
No. Who asked that?
Yeah, but do you want to watch a T-Rex racing on the Ocho? Like, yeah, it's great.
Yes, I do.
How do you feel about soccer?
I love it. Yeah. But we put on. I leave it at the discretion of my bartenders. We don't have that kind of strict rules. Like who's ever working, you get to play what music you want. Just don't offend anyone, or do your best to not offend anyone, because people get offended at almost anything. So we're very open and safe space. Yeah, we're good, open and safe space for everybody. Just don't cause any shit.
I went on mute there because I just opened my hipster juice bag, which is a triple dry hopped East Coast
so
style
good.
India Pale Ale. It is so.
We wanted to hear that.
I know. It does usually sound good, and it is kind of always a risk because I never know what my can that's been sitting on my desk for most of this show is going to do when I open it. So it is kind of a risk, but this one behaved.
Yep. We do have a DO meter now that we've been doing distro so long. Like it was 2021, we bought our own canning line. Finally, we used to use a mobile canner for many years before that. So finally got our own canning line. We bought the DO meter so we can measure dissolved oxygen in beer and really designate that shelf life on them. So we didn't have to really, no more guessing. Good $20,000 piece of equipment for peace of mind. But
Right.
hey, it helps you put that date and that expiration date on there, and really, then we kind of know, it's not going to explode on you.
That's right. Yes. And you know that when people buy it off the shelf, they're not going to say, "Oh, I hate this brewery," because they got an old beer that shouldn't still have been on the shelf.
Yeah, and I hope that one's not too. We work with our distributor to pull the older stuff. I get calls occasionally like, "Hey, this thing's been on the shelf for 7 months." I'm
I'm
like,
going to
"Oh,
assume this one's fine because it's just the Total Wine in town. So
yeah, total wine. They buy a lot and a lot of fast. There's
and it
usually a
goes through
date.
fast.
Yeah, the date's usually printed right to the right of the Indiana on the back of the label.
Okay.
There should be like a little black date somewhere on there, but sometimes the date coder doesn't print perfectly on every can, but we try to at least make sure it's one on every 4 package.
I'm old. It was the 14th of some month in 2025. So I'm not sure which
You're
month.
doing pretty good then.
Yeah. We're less than a year. We'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
We usually put a 6 month on all the IPAs and then a year on all the red ale and all that
I'm
stuff. So.
pretty sure it says June, but like I said, I'm old. It's could be a 6, it could be an 8, but I think it's a 6.
Yeah, okay. It's still
I
good.
apparently like
Taste
playing
fresh?
beer
Oh, yeah.
roulette.
I'm sorry, Wendy.
I apparently like playing beer roulette.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I pick it based on a style sometimes it's the label that catches my eye, which is how I actually found you guys, because it was Dark Side of the Moon and $14 Chuck.
Yeah, I love that $14 Chuck label,
I
and
was
that's
like,
a great beer.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
the
that one.
$14 bill.
But I was a big fan of the $2 Chuck forever. So
Right.
the $14 Chuck was wonderful.
The $2 Chuck is the Trader Joe's wine, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but I never actually had it because we don't really have a Trader Joe's around us up here. So, but
Sure.
I go to beer fests in Indy, and everybody was like, "That's what it's from, right?" And it's like, no, there's actually a whole background story to $14 Chuck that I really can't tell on here. But but you
Legal
can wonder.
indemnity, huh?
Yeah, not legally, it's morally.
I assumed it was a commentary on the rising price of 4 packs of the hazy IPAs.
not far off. No, but we actually do it. That one is always going to be priced at 14 a 4-pack. So it's just
Awesome.
never going to change. The hipster recently, I cut out the little front label. Well, we had a party in the back room where whoever was hosting the party brought some Capri Suns. So took an actual Capri Sun and slapped the hipster label on the back, or just like the shield part of it. So that was always the goal. Is like the juice bag is going to be like.
Yeah.
So we might like try to release that on April Fool's Day here soon. Spoiler alert! But
a friend of mine on Discord shared a picture of a sake juice box. Like it looks just like those juice boxes with the straw that you stab in the hole and everything.
yeah,
But it's sake. So I think you can make this hipster juice bags Capri Suns a thing.
yeah. I got to figure out how to package beer in a bag. That's going to be tough.
Right.
Can't even hard enough though.
Yeah, it'd be hard to sell them like distribution, but you could totally do it in your shop. They sell the juice bags on eBay. I got some for my birthday party a couple years ago. I got us all Capri Sun bags to put our drinks in.
That's awesome. Like as a cup holder or to actually put the liquid in?
No, like the juice that you put the juice in the thing. You can get them on a cruise ship too.
Okay.
They have like Capri Sun bags that you stick the thing in there.
I know like the local winery in Valpo was doing like a slushy bags, but with beer you got to really keep that oxygen out. It's got to be please.
Well, like I said, you wouldn't be able to distribute it.
It's totally a novelty thing, and I think enough people late enough in the night would be all into it.
Yeah, I think throwing ice cream in beer will be novelty enough for us for now.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds good. We are coming up on an hour, which means that the show has flown by. But also, we are going to start wrapping it up, and we wrap up our show by asking some questions that may or may not be related to beer. And I will go ahead and go first and let Wendy think of a question. And I will go back to my standby of what was the last board game you played or card game, and did you win?
Ooh, I don't know. Last board game or card game? I was
You were just
playing
camping,
dominoes. Yeah, I was solo though with my dogs. So I didn't really. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds even better. Oh my
It
goodness.
was amazing, but yeah, like no, I didn't really play any board games, and I used to play dominoes quite a bit though, just straight throwing bones. But Yeah, I think the last time I played, I did not win, but it's been a while. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm due.
I was at a work conference thing, which is usually really, really boring. And I brought a game with me that I love to bring with me, and I almost never play, called Happy Salmon. And it is one of the stupidest games you can play, but it's great. You have a deck of cards, you stand around in a circle. The set I have, 6 people can play, and we had 6 people. And you're just trying to find someone else who has the same card as you so that you do the action so that you can flip the cards. And when you flip all the cards, then you win. So everybody's shouting things like pound it, to do a fist bump, or high five, or switcheroo to change places. So there's a lot of activity and shouting for a short period of time while people finish this. It's a lot of fun, but I did not win.
Can I run away for 1 second? I'll be right back.
Yes.
Right, 1 second.
You can.
So my best friend and I, I've told you before that we have like a 20-year game of Skippo going on.
Yeah.
She was here the other night and we played Skippo. And out of 5 games, she won 4.
Oh no.
I'm like, the last time there was a landslide like that was literally like a year ago, the same time.
Have you?
And it was on mine. So now we're back to even score again. But I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, I just want to win 1 game.
Right. Did you find your notebook?
No, I still have just the last 3 years in my notes in my phone. But no, I don't think I'm ever gonna find that damn notebook. It really drives me insane.
It's probably still in that house.
I just got a bunch of boxes for my sister's house from my last move because I put some stuff in storage. I moved in with my grandma, and she just started bringing boxes over because I had the garage redone.
Okay.
So, because I told her don't bring them over until the garage, or she wouldn't bring them over until the garage was fixed. So I started going through those boxes that were at her house. So maybe it's in there. Who knows?
Maybe it's in there. Yeah. You'll find it.
If I find it, I will definitely let you guys know.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So my question, I'm going to take it back to the beer.
Yeah.
If I am driving through Michigan City and I stop for lunch, what is the one beer on tap right now that I have to try?
Oh, as long as it hasn't disappeared while I've been gone the last week, which I think it's still there. So there's quite a few kegs before I left, but Inhale, it's called. It's a kind of an acronym. It's IN.H.A.L.E. So Inhale, it stands for Indiana Harvest Ale. It's our wet hopped harvest ale we do once a year. We switch up the grain bill and stuff kind of every year a little bit, but it's always the same hops from Howe Farms and Crown Point. So we did a full batch with 100 pounds of this wet Chinook and Cascade kind of blended together. So it's, when you're doing a wet hop harvest ale, you get that like juiciness, that green flavor of the hops. It's not like your typical flavor in that. But this year we decided to use a little crystal rye. So it became a little red and like got a little bit of those caramel notes to it. It's always been a rye beer in the end. Like we've used Sugar Creek's rye and other like local places for it. This time it was all Simpsons from the UK because we kind of switched to that supplier this year. We still do buy from Sugar Creek for some stuff, but we're like, we have some of this Crystal Rye laying around. Let's like put a little bit of that in. So we got it a little darker red this year, and it was turned out amazing. Like the caramel notes from like the caramel spicy notes from the malt and the rye, like really just like accentuated the juicy hops. It's been the best year I've ever think we've done it, and we've done it like at 8 years now, I believe. So. It's a lot of fun. It's a pain in the butt to brew. We do a 7-barrel batch of it, so we get about 100 pounds of hops for that. And we use the mash tun as a giant hop back. So as soon as we like fill the kettle with the wort, we empty the grain, get the grain out, rinse out the mash tun as fast as we can, and then we end up throwing all the hops in the mash tun. And then once the wort comes to boil, we do like a cycle, like transferring and sparging back over the hops from the kettle. So you're putting boiling wort through a pump and spraying it into the mash tun. So it's a little dangerous and scary, but it's worth it in the end. So
that's sweet.
Especially because no one got burned this year. Loves
that caveat. Yeah, we talked to Columbus Brewing about forklifts and pallets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like we've all been driving, like me and my partner's been driving forklifts forever. But we've never like technically been forklift certified. But if you own the company, you don't technically have to, so that's cool.
Right.
Maybe. Don't quote me on that. But
This is not a legal advice show.
yes, exactly.
Nope.
But yeah, no,
Different
inhale is
state.
definitely
Different
if you're
state for me, so.
if you're swinging through right now this time of year, inhale. Oh, Shisa, our Marzen just left the taps right before I left, but we still have cans of it. And those two beers once a year, one batch only. So if you're around, and Oshisa did a little bit of distribution, Inhale did not. So like if you're you could probably find a little bit of Shisa out in the market. Keep an eye out for it. But yeah, if you're around, those are the two that I would recommend. It's my favorite. This is my favorite time of year. Like
It's the best time of year.
Yeah, temperature wise, outside, like for beer, for food, like Oktoberfest. We've been running Oktoberfest specials for 3 weeks straight. So we've had different forms of schnitzel, goulash. Like they did Reinserladen, which is a really intricate German dish. It was amazing. We had Leberkäse, which don't get sick of German food ever. So,
So one thing I've taken from this is definitely check out the kitchen because they're having a lot of fun in the kitchen.
oh yes, we have a blend, and like now too, I'm getting like cooked with the beer and stuff like that too. So, like I mean, we have our house pickles are like they're a sweet pickle, and they're made with hops in them, so they got a little like kick to them. And then we do caramelized beer onions all the time, but then all the specials are constantly made with beer somehow, one way or another. So. Yeah, we have beer cheese for our pretzels, spent grain pretzels we make with 2 of those, spent grain from brewing. So, and that's something we've always done from the old spot too. So,
that's great. Steve, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for so much time talking to us.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. And we are going to go ahead and end this show like we end every show and say, whatever you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft.
Cheers.
Cheers.